Hey everyone, I think you can hear me. Yes, you can. All right. I'm here. I'm not queer, but I've heard that said. How is everyone doing? I have had a busy day of work and also trying to continue to uh, play with my new dog. You guys want to see my new dog? I showed you glimpses of the dog, but oh wait. Okay. Alright, chat is live. Turn on the window. Photos. Okay. That's me. This is my. Is it my new dog? Does it classify as my new dog? What breed do you think he is? Um, as you can see, he is unneutered. And if I'm going to keep him, I need to neuter him. Because he keeps, bothering my existing spayed female dog. And she's not really enjoying it. Let's actually find that out together. How long does California consider? Okay, California stray dog. How long? Wow, 5 days? 5 working days? That's like ridiculously short. It's not even a month. 6 day? Oof. Okay, but what about uh at home? Wow. 10 days. Oof. I feel like 10 days is just way too short. Mm. Oh, well, all right then. I guess we're gonna. I'm officially gonna make a proper video introducing him as my new dog. Like next week, later next week, I guess. Yeah, crazy. Just 10 days? Still can't believe it. It's insane. All right. Well, anyway, what do I have to talk about today? Not much. I'm just. It's been a while since I just came on and just rambled about stuff. So today I'm interested in doing that a little bit. Just talking to you about how life has been recently. And yeah. But in any case, in case we have some stuff to talk about, let's just keep Reddit up and let's see where. Oops. Let's see where that takes us. Not this window, Reddit. Okay. Man, it's been a while since I played Path of Exile. Uh, anyone over here? Anyone here over 30 and wanting to be better? Probably. Uh, I think based on the statistics of my clients, I think generally it's people who are over 30, and I think why that tends to be is I think in your 20s you try other things first. You try shorter term solutions that make you kind of feel immediately better. You're not necessarily in for kind of a different, permanent, more difficult kind of a solution. So I think that's why in fact, most people participating in self development is over 30, I think. So if you're interested in self development, it's never too late. Also, wanted to tell you, tomorrow I have a special guest to the stream. It's gonna happen 8 p.m. Eastern time and 5 p.m. Pacific time. But I have a guest, and the guest is going to talk with me for a podcast recording, and the topic of the podcast is Tibetan Buddhism, which is kind of like a branch of Buddhism. So maybe we could spend some time researching that. I'm gonna do my due diligence on Tibetan Buddhism. Oh, okay. So it's not just Tibet, but it's also Bhutan and Mongolia. That's good. That's interesting. Himalayas. Okay, so let's get the map open to see the diaspora. Oof. Now, whenever I see the world map, I always want to travel. Seattle to Victoria. It's not that far. Felt like ages ago. Okay, but anyway, Buddha is understood to be born around here, what's now considered Nepal, and I know that he went to the Varanasi, where the Ganges River is, and I know he. So it's around the Himalayan mountains. So let's see if we can get the terrain open. Okay. So Bhutan is here. Where's Tibet? You can see how ignorant I am when it comes to geography. Oh, Tibet is basically this mass. Oh, okay. So it's just like one mountain away, I guess, or it's in the mountains. Okay. Um, Mongolia. So it's like this region, and then it's spread all the way up to here. Cause I know Xinjiang is primarily occupied by Uyghur people who are Muslims. So I don't know what happened from Tibet to Mongolia, but that is the route that Buddhism has taken. What's up, Denise? Oh, chat's disabled here. Hey, we're here. Um, we have a guest tomorrow who's gonna talk about Tibetan Buddhism with me tomorrow, so I'm just doing my due diligence of Tibetan Buddhism. Sizable number of adherents in the area surrounding Himalayas, including the Indian regions, as well as Nepal. Small group of Central Asia. Some regions of Russia. Wow. So it's a form of Mahayana Buddhism. Late stages of Indian Buddhism. Okay. Preserves many Indian Buddhist tantric practices. What is tantric practice? It's an esoteric yogic tradition. That narrows it down very little. But I guess it's like more around rituals. Okay, we'll leave it at that and ask tomorrow. Along with the numerous Tibetan developments in the pre-modern era, spread outside Tibet, primarily due to the influence of the Mongol Yuan dynasty. That's like so old. Who ruled China, Mongolia, and other parts of? Oh, okay. So Mongolia ruled over like this area basically, and that's how the influence spread. Makes sense now. And the Dalai Lama escaped to India. Indian subcontinent is also known for the Renaissance. Oh, that's interesting. So what I as a newcomer to the experience, what I'm interested in is turn on a little bit of music. Okay, so the Buddhism teaches primarily the concept of non-self, and if the Dalai Lama keeps reincarnating, doesn't that go against the rule of that philosophy? That's something I wanted to talk about tomorrow. Apart from classical Mahayana Buddhist practice like the six perfections. Yeah, paramita. Now I get it. In Korean, this is 6 paramil, 6 paramil. Tantric practices such as deity yoga. What's deity yoga? Wow, there's so many things. 6 dharmas of Narupa, as well as methods that are transcending tantra like Sokchen. Okay, so I guess it's a form of yoga or a form of meditation. Okay. Main goal is Buddhahood, typical. Uh, this may be then more related to Theravada than I thought. Primary language of scriptural study in this tradition is classical Tibetan. Tibetan Buddhism has 4 major schools: Nyingma, Kagyu, Sakya, and Gelug. The Chonang is a smaller school that exists, and the Rinme movement, meaning no side, is a more recent non-sectarial movement that attempts to preserve and understand all the different traditions. The predominant spiritual traditions in Tibet before the introduction of Buddhism was Bon, strongly influenced by Tibetan Buddhism. So I wonder what it was, what Tibet's religion was before Buddhism. Okay. Interesting. And let's get the table of contents again. Key personalities. Probably Dalai Lama. Teachings, okay. General Buddhist 3 marks of existence, Kanda, cosmology, samsara, rebirth, bodhisattva, dharma, dependent origination, karma. Okay, so the 4 tenets system is something that's exclusive, Rangtong, Shentong, and pointing out instructions. Okay, let's take a quick look at those because these are what I'm primarily interested in. Meditation. Oh. 4 tenets system. Is this the 4? Okay. 2 tenets. Hinayana. So this is the atomistic view of reality. Reality is made up of a series of impermanent phenomena. Okay. This one is only the present moment exists, as well as the view that we do not directly perceive the external world, only the mental images cause corruption. Okay. And these are Mahayana, mind only. Only ideas and mental ideas exist. Ultimate sense because of this. Okay. And this is everything is empty of essence, ultimately beyond concepts. Okay. So these are, I guess, kind of the ideas that keep circulating inside Tibetan Buddhism. Shentong is a sunyata way of viewing it. Rangtong is a okay. Shentong sees relative reality as empty of self-nature. It argues that absolute reality is a positive, non-dual Buddha jnana, which is only empty of other relative phenomena. This positive ultimate reality is not empty of its own nature and is thus truly existing. Okay, so relative reality and absolute reality. I've seen this in other schools of Buddhism. Extrinsic emptiness Okay, so these are ways to explain and view sunyata, which is the void. This is abstinence from syllogistic readings. Things can be said to exist conventionally according to characteristics. This makes it possible to take the mere object as a point of departure for the discussion on inherent existence. From there it is possible to... So, okay, so again, this is related to sunyata. Pointing out instruction. The introduction to the nature of mind. Okay, so I think it's a way of passing down knowledge from the teacher to the student. Okay, that makes sense. Hi, Kaylee. All right, that's enough of a whoa. Oh, can you see my new dog? He's licking his junk and feet right now, but he really likes to when I'm in my room, he likes to come here, and he's been progressively making his way onto that cushion. So when he first came, he wasn't on it. He only put his like butt next to the cushion, and he was laying down on the floor. But as the days went on by, he became a little bit bolder and bolder and bolder, and now he feels comfortable enough to actually lie on top of that cushion, which I think is kind of adorable. Yeah, he's a really good dog. Alright, so... Oh, I did have something I wanted to record. Namely, I had a question from Discord, so wanted to talk a little bit about that. Just need to find the source. Okay, now let's start recording this. Oof. Hello. Oh, the music's not playing. Okay, sorry about that. Well, how to apply self-acceptance is a question that I've gotten recently on my Discord channel. So I wanted to give you a little bit more of an in-depth explanation about how to apply self-acceptance instead of the usual kind of like a short and simple video. So to give you the full question first, the full question is how to apply self-acceptance, or where do I need to start? I often overjudge myself for small things. Even a little joke in a conversation, I have anxiety on it, even when I'm looking the mirror of myself. So, where do you start? Well, let's look at the phenomena of self-judgment first, okay? So, I judge myself. Usually, if you are like 90% of people, 90% is a statistic I pulled out of my ass. If you're like the majority of people, you find out that you have been self-deprecating after you've done it, right? Or at least near the end of the self-critical experience. Okay, so you catch yourself after you already are anxious, or after the anxiety wave is done, and you're like, oh man, I couldn't do anything today because I was so anxious about that. Okay, which means we have a little bit of a lag between the experience and the perception of it. Good. So, if we start there, I think it's too late because there's nothing to do anymore. The wave is already done. But, there's still something you can do, is preventing the next wave of self-judgment from happening. But now, in order to do that, we have to be just constantly aware of doing something and being super self-aware about it, right? But it's hard to be constantly aware of yourself. That's why meditation is so hard. That's why living, if from a non like unconscious life, living a conscious life tends to be difficult because now you're supposedly walking down this path of self improvement. You're supposedly doing all of this like meditation and self awareness work to be happy, right? But when you sit down and actually meditate, and when you sit down and think about your life and think about your conscious decision making, so much of it doesn't make sense because you're just bombarded with the amount of thoughts that you have, right? And so, in general, right, everyone thinks a lot, but at the same time, everyone's negative thoughts are more likely to be significant to the mind. Why? Because as biological beings, before we have the spiritual dimension, we have the biological dimension, right? So, meditation, why is it hard? Like 108 bows, why is it hard? Why are all these practices challenging for the body? Because it goes against the biological need to be comfortable. Because biology is always inherently programmed to keep ourselves safe and comfortable. That's like why? So that we can reproduce, right? Life is, by definition, a self sustaining and self creating process. So, when we have a negative factor, we want to be able to get away from it because why? If we're too late to react to the negative stimulus, then it might be too late. And so our before we even get to the spiritual dimension, our biology dictates whether this is gonna like be on top of the priority queue in your brain or not, right? So, yes, we are going to feel a lot of things, we are going to think a lot of things, but what's at the top of the queue is most likely going to be negative things. Okay, so now we have this understanding. We have all these negative things to think. And when it comes to self judgment, like the example that the question asker gave is a little joke in a conversation, I have anxiety on it. Why? Because I might be perceived as cringy. I might be perceived as bad, right? So a lot of our fears tend to be based on how other people view us, how society views us, how basically things outside of us view us. Again, it helps to understand when you're new to the self development world. It helps to know more about yourself. It helps to know more about the brain. It helps to know more about like structures in general because it helps you rationalize why you do these things, and it helps you understand that you're not really that fucked up. Okay, so we explained why negative things tend to be on the top of the priority, and now why do we care so much about the world and how it views us? It's because, number one, you are one entity in your mind, but everyone else is like a big mass, right? So, by definition, you start having the majority and minority dynamic. And so, when you are not universally liked, then it triggers that really visceral kind of fear because it stems down to again the biological mechanism. When you're in a group and everybody is threatening you, so just imagine this, right? Suppose you're at school or suppose you're at the workplace and everybody gives you a hostile look. You're gonna like before you even rationalize anything, right? Oh, they're probably like, I don't know, there's something on my shirt. Like before you do get to that like thinking step, your body is gonna automatically give you this like, whoa, something feels really off, right? And because that majority has the power to kind of oust you in the type of a tribal kind of a mindset. So when other people perceive you at mass in a certain way, that has very realistic kind of biological implications. Okay, but now what if it's not? What if it's not like a mass thing, right? What if it's an individual thing? Then now, what is the significant factor about the mass to you relationship? The what's actually causing the biological reaction is the power difference. You perceive yourself as lacking power. You see yourself as less than this other entity. in the case of the mass, you are one person against like a mass, right? But now, you, your boss, you, your parents. So this is the power dynamic now at play. Compared to this authority figure, you are such a small part. You're like an ant, you can be squashed. So what this means is you're at the mercy of them, right? Your happiness and your well-being is, according to your brain and how you believe it, it's up to the stronger powers that be. If you're a religious person in the traditional sense, this is your relationship with God, or this is your relationship with Allah, or like any other supreme being, right? You're at the mercy of them. And so you always need to comply, you always need to think about how this powerful entity will see me, because why? You're not doing this for no reason, you're doing it for an intelligent reason. And that intelligent reason happens to be your well-being is at stake. Okay, so now, then why do we judge ourselves? How does this relate to self-acceptance? This ties in with self-acceptance because you criticize yourself for putting yourself at risk. Now, if I mess up at my job, I can be fired, right? And now if I get fired, think of how much that has realistic consequences for me, right? If I have a really wonderful, like, girlfriend, boyfriend, and I mess up and I fuck up, and then I had to, I lose them and I offend them, and if I have my parents and they have high expectations of me, but then I fail them, all these things are just ways you can kind of your well-being is gonna be at stake. Now, who's to blame when you mess this up? So if other person makes you feel bad, if other people like make you lose out on that power dynamic and make you feel bad, then of course your mind is gonna naturally gravitate towards the person who brought you the suffering, right? But in this case, you're always hyper aware of all the things that can go wrong with your social life. And who do you have to blame? No one but you. So that's why the that's why the self-judgments and self-criticism happens, right? And now, we all know that when a guy is tall, like over 6 feet or 180 centimeters, in general, that's seen as an attractive feature, right? So now, when our biology becomes involved, and now like, oh, suppose like, oh, my nose is too flat, and oh no, my eyes are too small, and my head is too big, and I'm so small, I'm so short, and I'm balding, and or like if you're a lady, like, oh, my boobs are too small, or like I have no ass, and like I don't know, like my torso is too big. So many things that we can attribute our ill-being to, right? I'm miserable because of these. And where do these things come from? This guy with two thumbs, right? So, at the core of self-judgment, the root of it is that you're not really in control of your well-being. You're not really in control of your life and your mind. That's at the essence of it, right? So how do we apply self-acceptance? Where do we need to start? We start by recognizing that other people are free to do whatever they want, and that includes thinking a certain way about you. It's okay if some people don't like you. It's okay if some people with a lot of power over your life don't like you. Because why? Yes, they may have a lot of power in your life, right? But who has more power in your life than that one person? You do. And you start to apply self-acceptance by recognizing this power. By understanding that I am in responsibility for creating my reality. When I suffer, I'm the one who chooses to suffer. When I feel good, I'm the one who decides to feel good. When I feel confident, I'm the one who decides to feel confident. When I'm shy, I'm the one who's deciding to be shy. It's just that all those decisions are unconscious most of the time. So, by understanding that, oh, I'm in charge of my reality, I get it. Okay. But that charge was being taken care of by my unconscious mind. And my unconscious mind has a naturally gravitating way. It has a repeated pattern of thinking. So that's why I judge myself, because it's just what I've been doing more and more in the past. It has nothing to do with the actual validity of my action. And that is the when you can more and more internalize that, and when you can more and more recognize the power and authority you have over your life and your reality, that's when the things start to change. So that is my kind of long explanation on how to apply self-acceptance. You have to understand, you have to recognize, like, holy crap, I am Tony Stark with an iron suit. Holy crap, I am Thor with the hammer. Holy crap, I am Deadpool with the, injection, or anything like that, right? You have to recognize that, oh my god, I have all this power. I just didn't know it. And that is the starting point. Cool. And there's a follow-up question, so I'll have a separate video about that. Actually, that may have been the first question, and I did it out of order. Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm right. It was the second order. But anyway, let's answer the first question. So the first question was, do you guys like oysters? Very random, but I used to not like them, but I came to really like them. But I only like it when it's cold or grilled. But in Korea, there's a oyster kimchi, and my wife really likes them. Now, as much as I learned to appreciate oysters, I don't think I can have that. Okay. You never had them? Well, how does the idea of it sound though? Like uh yeah, how does the idea of these sound to you? Oh, this looks so good. My favorite part about going to San Diego is in San Diego there is this establishment called Ironside, and they have like the best oysters here. It's so good. You would never try them? Okay. What do you usually eat then? Like, what's your staple food? Because that's very different for everybody. And the other type I eat is Korean grilled oyster. Yeah, Koreans like to grill stuff on hot salt. This is good. Oh man. Yeah, this stuff I can't eat. Like when it's not hot nor cold. When it's just like marinated, it's room temperature. I can't do that. The idea of it is and also related to this there's a freshwater clam. Marsh clam. And this is a very popular soup in Korea. We eat it with chive, and basically the broth is it's the marsh like freshwater clam. And my sister and my wife loves this, but something about the smell of this I just can't really handle. I'm not a picky eater, at least I don't think I am, but the this is the scent of it is just strange. Wait, you like seafood but you don't eat oysters? I take it you eat a lot of fish then, right? Oh, now I want some fish and chips. Mm. Mm. When I was young, um, you hate fish, then what seafood do you eat? Like shrimp? I guess everyone loves shrimp. I have yet to meet a person who doesn't eat shrimp. But when I was young, my when my mom and my sister and I would always like go to diners like after church or something, right? And then when we went, my mom would always have fish and chips, and I thought she genuinely liked fish and chips, but I didn't, right? And then I grew up and I got the chance to eat some fish and chips, and I was like, oh, you know what? This is like actually pretty good, cause cod when it's fried really well, it's actually really crispy and juicy. And when you have it with that like special type of vinegar with that horseradish, like fish and chips are like really good, right? And so I told my mom, like, mom, like I think I got your appetite. I learned to really like fish and chips. And then my mom was like, can I make a confession, my son? And I was like, yeah, what's up? And she was like, I never really liked fish and chips. I just ate it because it was the cheapest thing available on the menu. And I was like, that's heartbreaking. Oh, you're pescatarian. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I've been trying to eat a lot less red meat too. So but I'm veggie, and when I eat meat, I try to eat when it's sustainably caught seafood in the markets where they have that logo, or if it's like organic chicken, mostly crab and shrimp. So I take you like a lot of the like Cajun stuff, right? Do you eat like the crayfish? No, man. Crayfish. Chinese spicy crayfish. Extremely labor intensive, but very good. Malalongsha. Yeah, this is the Chinese spicy crawfish. Man, you have to peel this by hand, and it's so much work. And if you know crayfish, it's actually not a lot of meat inside. So it feels like a lot of work for not a lot of meat, but it's actually pretty good. But as with anything with mala, it fucks up your stomach, so you gotta eat it in moderation. I had a coworker who was really into this stuff. You know what? I should talk to him. Go to LinkedIn. Oh, unintentionally restrictive diet because I would only eat meat, bread, and fruits. Always in the same thing. Okay. Well, hopefully you get to willingly try a lot more different foods in life because, you know, eating is like a big part of a pleasurable life in my opinion. But you know what? It's okay. Food is just food. Oh, are you like highly sensitive in that area? Cause yeah, there's a lot of people who are highly sensitive to that kind of stuff, especially around stimulus. Okay. Um, Today was Wednesday. This is not the week I go to work, but I go to work every 2 weeks. But whenever I go to work, I go to the cafeteria and I have fish, and they have good cod. I usually like to eat tilapia, but because I find that tilapia is better grilled, and I like cod when it's fried. And you know what? Who doesn't like salmon? I love salmon, but I like to eat salmon raw. I like to get the fresh salmon from the farmer's market, like sushi grade, and then I bring it home and then I cut it up myself and then I eat it. And it's nice to get the fish at the farmer's market because you know it's then it's locally and sustainably caught. Oh, you're highly sensitive. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I know people like that, and yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, hopefully, you get the autonomy in your life where you get to pick and decide what you want to eat, and you can experiment like that. Something very random, but there's a anime called Chainsaw Man, and I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with this. Yeah, yeah, I totally get it. I know a lot of highly sensitive people who have the same kind of experience as you, but in a different sense. So I know people who have it with sounds. So they can't like physically they can't be in the room where the certain sounds are being made, and it really irks them, and they can't like control their reaction to it. And so I completely understand. But unfortunately, for people who are highly sensitive, not everybody is so open and into understanding this. So yeah, it does suck. But hey, you know what? Like, they can figure it. Okay, so in Chainsaw Man, right? I'm gonna give you a spoiler, so you gotta deal with it. But basically, this character, right? Uh, this character is a devil or a demon, but in this universe, demons cannot really die. Um, they can be super dead, but as long as they have a taste of human blood, they're gonna regenerate and things like that, right? There's like conditions on it. So how this protagonist here with the blonde hair actually ends up killing this lady is uh it's they slice up the demon, but instead of killing it with the intent to kill, it treats it like food. So he spends like a few months eating that devil's meat, and so this is how you taste, right? And yeah, I find that this actually helped me very much when I decided to be more vegetarian, because this was such a graphic representation of, because eating actual meat isn't really all that different from this, right? And that did give me a lot of perspective on it. Yeah, it's a it's a very unique, but it's so unique that I think it is one of the best animated works I have seen. Yep, in my life, one of my favorite animes. Okay, well, all right. I need to talk about one more thing, so let's quickly record that video. All right. One other question that I got from Discord is overthinking, but I think this a lot of people can relate to this type of overthinking. So I'll give you the full question and the context first. Hi guys, I have a huge question about my life, like goal in life. My goal in life is to publish the story that I like to the whole world, and I hope people love my story. It sounds like my goal of life is to please people, want to get attention and love from people. But I'm not sure if I'm overthinking and judging too much of my goal. But here's the reason I stop. Do I enjoy story writing? Or do I want to please myself and prove myself somehow? Do I want to continue story writing? Is there a right mindset I should have while facing this like goal of my life? And I think this is the part where a lot of people can relate to, right? Like this idea of, okay, so am I doing the right thing? I think I'm doing it with the right intention, but like, what if it's not, right? And to give you the quick answer of how I answered this question is, whenever I think about, is this people pleasing or not, or whenever I think about what I genuinely want or not, is I think of the scenario where, what if no one's out there who is gonna do this? What if I do this and no one's gonna care? What if I release a new offering and then nobody buys it? What if I make this video and nobody watches it? Even then, am I going to make it? Even then, am I going to do it? Then I do it. And because why? It's not dependent on other people. It's just something that I want to do, right? So, suppose nobody wants to game with me. Am I still gonna play a game? Yeah, I love video games. That's how I know, right? So, if your life goals seem like it's dependent on other people, a quick way to evaluate it is, would I do this if no one was there? Would I do this if no one gave me the approval that I wanted? Would, if that approval that I would like to get, am I still going to do it? And that's sort of how I feel about YouTube, right? That's how I feel about live streaming like this. So I don't care if people watch it. I'm just doing it for me, and that's why I do it. And it's nice to kind of think of. Oh, it's nice to think about this things from this perspective, because when other people and external influences keep driving your decision making, the more and more you do it, the more you lose your will and your initiative on life. And the more you start living for other people, the less enjoyable it becomes to live for you. Because you keep finding yourself doing things to please other people. And you know what? I'm gonna admit, I was the biggest people pleaser in the world too, right? So I understand that when other people are pleased with you and they're happy with you, it feels super nice. But I think I talked about this a few times before. Like the biggest tears I have cried when when I'm the client in my coaching sessions is when I recognized that I was not living my life for myself. And the amount of regret that I felt when I remembered all these moments I made decisions to satisfy other people, that's such a profound sense of grief. That's such a profound sense of regret. And that's something I genuinely would not wish on anyone. So, I would recommend that, live for you. And do things for yourself. And you know what? I'm not saying don't ever do anything for other people. Of course, you can be charitable and things like that, right? But the primary decision maker in your life has to be you. And yeah, that's about it. Say hello to my dog right here. All right. Those are the videos I wanted to make today. Now let's upload them while I talk about other stuff. How are your days? Tell me. My day was busy, but it's always nice to talk to people. You wrote a page. You had found some old letters that had written a little. Oh, nice. Your dad wrote a book. Nice. What? So you wrote a page of your book, or you wrote another letter? That reminds me. I wrote a lot of letters when I was a kid too. And I think I still write cards to my wife whenever there's like a day, special day. Long testing day. One more test day to go. Oh, your book, nice. This this Texas test must be like crazy long, huh? Education. Tedious, but always worth it, I think. Oh, you run on the time to write? Yeah. I think struggling with time is kind of a theme for everyone, but yeah, you gotta find the time. Do I have some pictures I can share with you that I took recently? Not really. I should really take some more pictures. I want to give you guys more of a day to day of my how things are going. Going out with friends sounds nice. I remember going out with friends and always thinking, I want to go back home. Because why? Because I was a primary people pleaser for my mom. And so I always wanted to go back home to be with my mom. And that's sort of been my story throughout my teenage years. And to be completely honest with you, a big portion of my adult year as well. 4 subjects, 4 tests, 50 questions each. Jeez. And these are just like state tests, huh? And these aren't even like college entrance exams. I heard the SATs are now 1600 again. You know, I used to like do a lot of tutoring for SATs, and so I I was I think my when I was a senior, I think that was the last year they did a 1600. I don't know. I'm class of '05 for my college. Oh no, I'm class of '05 for my high school. So I was like, wow, like they're gonna put writing together and it's gonna be out of like 2400. And then later on, I forgot about all that, and then somebody told me that it's like 1600 again. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Comes with 30 hours of summer classes. Jeez, it's crazy. 30 hours summer classes. But I don't know. I found when I was in high school, summer school was kind of nice. It was it was pretty okay to hang out with people at school. Probably because I was a big loner and I didn't have a car back then. Like I was a freshman and a sophomore. What the fuck do freshmen and sophomores do in the summer? You know, like if you're not that social. So as a not that very social person, summer school was actually pretty pleasant for me. But my high school was in California. I hated when you have to do something when you fail. So I went to Cornell, and for college, and apparently the Ivy Leagues have this like tradition of a swimming test. Uh, well, no, I guess it's not. Oh, I guess it's being abandoned about freaking time. Many people overlook how two Ivy League University, Columbia and Cornell, are still keen on instilling both brains and performance. Test athletic ability. Many Ivy League students are required to perform swimming tests to graduate. Yeah, they do this in freshmen. Like, so as soon as you enter the school, you have to take a swim test, and then if you fail, your first year PE has to be swim. But thankfully, I knew how to swim, so it wasn't a big problem for me. But friggin', um, yeah, so many people failed that test, and Koreans being kind of like having that kind of cheating disposition. Some people like were secretly paying off other like good swimmers to pretend they're them, and yeah, this sort of stuff was happening. But so when I was a freshman, everybody was taking this like swim test, and then the only kind of advice that I got was like, "Hey, don't look next to you, okay?"